Hi everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce and this is my TBR for the 8th round of the Queer Lit Readathon. As always, the Queer Lit Readathon is hosted by Kathy and Rogan and they always have a guest host, and for this round it is Alex from Pucks and Paperbacks. Everyone's channels will be linked down below along with their announcement videos, so definitely go and check those out. And again, as always, there is a bingo board for this with prompts that you can choose to follow or not. It's absolutely not necessary to follow the bingo board if you don't want to. You can just read any queer book during the week and it will count for the readathon. So for this month it is running from the 5th to the 11th of December. Okay, so the prompts for this round of the readathon are blank punk, I'll get to that in a minute, group read, translated, choose your own prompt, seasonal vibes, trans debut, novella, queer sports, rainbow cover, something borrowed, queer joy, fantasy, middle grade, host recommendation, 40% plus BIPOC and beyond LGBT. So for blank punk, that's like steampunk, silk punk, hope punk, solar punk, any kind of book genre that has something punk in the title, but you can choose whichever one you want to do, and for that I have chosen steampunk. And for the choose your own prompt, I have gone with Australian author, which is actually not what I have written down in my journal, but I have decided to change my mind and so I will fix that. So the first book on my TBR is Upside Down by N.R. Walker, which looks like this. And this is going to cover me for Australian author as well as host recommendation, because Kathy pretty much recommends this for every single round of the Queer Lit Readathon. There's nearly always a prompt that it will fit for. And I've had this book for a long time, so I've decided to finally read it. This book is also going to cover me for the prompt Beyond LGBT because it is about two asexual boys. So that prompt is like a book that features an identity that isn't lesbian, gay, bisexual or transgender. And then the next book on my TBR is A Matter of Disagreement by E.E. Ottoman, which looks like this. And this is going to cover me for steampunk, it's obviously what I've gone with, novella, and something borrowed because I don't own a copy of this book and I will be reading it on script, so that counts. And then the next book on my TBR is Seaside Stranger Volume 1 by Ki Khanna. This is going to cover me for translated and also seasonal vibes. I don't know if this takes place specifically in summer, but it's set on the beach, which to me is a summer thing. And then the next book on my TBR is going to cover me for trans debut and also group read, but I'm kind of bending this one a little bit. So this book is Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi, which is not actually the group read for this round, but it was the group read for round 7. And I didn't have a copy of it back then, so I couldn't read it for that round, but I do have a copy of it now, so I am like reading it after the fact. It is a group read, it's just not the group read for this round, and it was Akwaeke Emezi's first published book, so definitely a debut. And then the next book on my TBR is Tide Song by Wendy Xu, and this is going to count for the prompts fantasy and middle grade. And then the next book on my TBR, I'm always surprised when I see this book and it's so short. It's only like, I thought it would be thick like Bloom, but it's tiny. Anyway, is Cheer Up, Love and Pom-Poms by Crystal Frazier, and this is going to cover me for the prompt Queer Sports. I don't have specific chosen books for rainbow cover or queer joy, just because theoretically any of these books could count, and it's just going to depend on whichever one I finish first will be the one that I fill that in for. And also the prompt 40% plus BIPOC doesn't have a specific prompt either. I have 6 books on my TBR and 3 of them are by authors of color, so that is a TBR that is 50% BIPOC, so counts. I'm going to be able to tick off that square anyway. So that is my TBR for round 8 of the Queer Lit Readathon. They are all either very short or graphic novels, so I should be able to knock over all of them within the space of a week, but hopefully. Anyway, the earrings, by the way, are from a creator called Twee and Me. I will link the shop down below. I don't think that these are still available. They were kind of like a limited release. So if they are, I will put a direct link to that collection. If they're not, I will just put a link to the shop. Please let me know if you are joining this round. If you have a TBR video or post on any social media, feel free to link it down below and I would love to check it out. If you've read any of these and you would like to let me know what you thought of them, please feel free to do so. If you don't have anything to say but you just want to let me know that you were here, leave any emoji that you fancy down in the comments and I will know that you watched to the end. That's all I have for you for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and I will see you in my next one. Bye for now.